conservative dude, but occasionally he comes out with shit that you're just like, what the hell is wrong with you? On their business card, it said, View Askew Productions will put anything in our mouths. Just kidding, we make movies. And he handed this to the girl who literally thought they were making a porno. And the first thing she sees is, we'll put anything in our mouths. So it took a minute.
I don't make porn.
Yeah.
No, neither do we.
Well, no, because like when he was just like, yeah, it's an independent movie. It's like porn without the sex. So yeah, she eventually agreed to do it, and but that actually helped keep Jeff Anderson around, because Marilyn Gigliotti, when they were doing rehearsals, so they had to rehearse a lot because they kind of had this down had to have it down like a play, because they had no money for film. Because kids, before digital, movies used to be shot on a thing called film, and it would be 24 frames becomes a second of film, all this stuff, and it actually cost money to have. You couldn't just push play until you were done and then move on. No, you had to actually pay for this stuff. So they didn't have enough money for this stuff, so they were just like, let's just have it down so that we can do it in as few takes as possible. So, when they were rehearsing, Marilyn just pulled, they were like, Kevin's just like, hey, do you have any questions? And Marilyn just goes, he, pointing at Jeff, is not going to be able to do this. And just like, I'm sorry, what? Huh? What the fuck now? And apparently she has no recollection of doing this. But from everything I've heard, no, she probably did. She eventually apologized, something like that, like later on. But she also kind of shit on Clerks when she saw it too, which is not in the documentary, I don't believe.
No.
She shit on Clerks. Not saying like it's bad, but she was just like, oh, it's a kind of cute little B movie. Which, it's like, kind of a bitch. But apparently they're saying she's nice, but I don't know. So she did that, but Jeff ended up trying to hand the script back and being like, I'm not doing this for any money. You're just, I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart, and kind of like, she's kind of harshing my shit, so I'm kind of out. And then...
Well, he also didn't want to...
He didn't want to do it.
He didn't want to tank it.
Yeah, he didn't want to ruin it.
How much... Because he knew Kevin put literally his entire life into this
exactly.
movie, and if it failed, he'd be fucked.
Which is, him going forward as far as Clerks 2 and Clerks 3, it's the same thing. He just doesn't have enough belief in himself to do it, because Clerks 2, he had to be convinced to do it with money and everything like that, of like, look, come on, you can do this. And Clerks 3, he was going to do it and then back the fuck out. So, this is kind of his thing.
Yeah.
But when he was handing the script back, Lisa Spoonhour showed up. And he just sort of goes, maybe I could stick around for a little bit. Which they ended up dating, and then got married. And divorced. But they did get married. Yeah. For like 8 years they were together. So,
hey, that's something.
Good on you. So, that was mostly all of the cast and everything like that. So... the film itself was shot in black and white, not because they're like, oh, we're artists, because,
No, because money.
Yeah, because it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper for two things. A, it's cheaper film stock, so it costs a lot less to get black and white film stock. Also, B, they didn't have money for lighting and shit like that. So if you have color, you have to worry about color temperatures and this and that. You don't have to worry about that with black and white, because it's, as long as it looks the same, it's good. You don't have to worry about, oh, this shade was a different color. Like, they don't have that kind of time.
Has he ever thought about going back and colorizing it?
He thought about, at one point in time, he thought about reshooting the whole damn thing with the original cast. So, he has
like a little bit later on,
yeah,
after the movie was released, probably like late 90s.
No, it was around the time of Clerks 2. He was thinking about doing the whole thing again, just for the shit of it. Yeah. Not like a big budget. Like, he's like, no, he could pull together $27,000.
No, but it'd
be
funny, because they'd be like doing the same film, but all be like, what, at that point, 20 years older?
Yeah. And that was literally the whole point.
I mean, that was kind of the premise of the Wet Hot American Summer deal on Netflix.
Exactly.
Like, they played the same characters, but it was it was for comedic effect, because they were clearly 20 years older.
Exactly, and that was sort of the whole idea behind it. He just wanted to try it and see if it would be fucked up, and just see how it ended up coming.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, I would love to see that. And there's a lot of things Kevin Smith has said he wants to do with Clerks that I will never see the light of day.
Yeah.
But it was shot in 21 days straight. At night.
Which is fun.
Yeah, Kevin was sleeping for 2 hours a night while also working at the store. So basically they would close the store at they would start closing up at 10 o'clock, breaking everything down so that they can move the movie stuff in. Mm-hmm. Close the store at 10:30, shoot all night, start breaking it down around 3:34, and then when it was done, he'd go sleep for 2 hours and then go open the store. Yeah. He did that for 21 days. to the point where there's a couple scenes in the movie, especially the fight scene, where he's asleep. He did not direct that because he was out.
Yeah, take it from me. I've worked 20-something days straight, nights.
Yeah.
That takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
That takes a lot out of you.
It's not something...
Didn't help that these people had day jobs.
No, and that was the other thing behind it, right?
Because they were working all night and then going to sleep for an hour and then going to work.
Exactly. Like, and hell, you can tell where Jeff Anderson works because it's on his shirt. He's wearing his work shirt. It's just a white T-shirt that says AT&T. He worked in the mailroom at AT&T, and it's on. Randall's wearing that shirt. Apparently, Dante works with House of Pain because that's the shirt he's wearing. Yeah. But so yeah, that was a lot of the technical stuff. So then, after the film's completed, what they ended up doing was the whole idea was to show it at the Independent Feature Film Market, which was the place where the movie that inspired Kevin, Slacker, got picked up. So he wanted his whole idea was to film it there, or show it there, and it showed there, and about 5 people showed up, including one guy that they didn't know. They didn't know anyone there, but they definitely didn't know this old dude who was sitting there watching it. And Kevin thought it was over. Like, he was done. Nobody saw the movie. It was it. He was depressed. He's like, shit, now I'm gonna be paying this off for 20 years. Fuck, I'm a failure, blah, blah, blah. And then people started calling him. Because, as it turned out, the guy who saw it was a guy named Bob Hawke, who was a big name in the feature film market. In the independent scene, I should say. And got in touch with a bunch of other people that, got the movie shown and everything. I'm skipping over a lot of stuff. Watch the documentary. It's totally awesome. So then eventually, after everything that goes on, the movie gets into Sundance Film Festival, which is a huge deal. And
at the 0 hour.
At the 0 hour. Like, people were not sure he was going to ever get in because they thought it was misogynistic. It was a little too racy.
That's what I thought was interesting watching the documentary again. People thought it was, people in the Sundance Film Festival committee that decide thought it was misogynistic.
I don't know where that comes from. I rewatched, after I watched the documentary, I rewatched the film for, the 3,000th time. I don't see it. I mean, it's from a guy's perspective. I'll give it that for sure. But I would not say it's misogynistic in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I don't know where that comes from. And even Kevin's like, I don't know. I don't get it.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. I would love to find out why anyone would think that, but, I don't live in 1994. We're just visiting.
Yeah.
So, movie gets in, but Kevin had an agent and who was going to try and get him more work. That was all that was going to happen out of this, because apparently everyone had seen it and said that they didn't want it. So he was cool.
Said it was good.
Said it was good, but they didn't want it because they said that they didn't know where to go with the movie. So he's like, all right, cool. So then executives at Miramax were watching on the final screening and loved it and decided, fine, we're going to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So invited him out to dinner after and bought the movie for, I think they said it was $250,000 plus the
cost.
The $27,575.
Just throw that in there.
Yeah, just throw the money in there, and there he goes.
Done.
It's done. Miramax now owns the film, and they were going to release it. The movie never played on more than 50 screens, so $3.2 million on less than 50 screens at a time. That's pretty damn good.
Yep.
But then, of course, this movie found its life on video, which is where I found it,
and built Mr. Smith a career.
Very much so.
Got him Mallrats.
Yeah, I can tell you, I found this movie in a video store whilst working in a video store, so you can kind of see where my mindset is and why I love this movie so much. So that's how that goes.
So we get into the movie proper, starting with the title card, which was super creepy. The View Askew title card featuring Vulgar the Clown.
Drawn by Walt Flanagan. Yeah. He drew that, and then they sent it to an animator.
Because it's like a clown,
yes,
like a big fat hairy clown, goes behind one of those little...
Like a wardrobe thing to sort of hide behind, like a screen of some
Changes
kind.
into basically S&M
lingerie
gear.
Lingerie.
Frillies and
fishnets. And if you want to know where that character...
There's a child there.
There's a child there playing with a ball, but he's not... He never touches the child. But if you want to know where the idea of that clown went... there's a movie in 2000 written and directed by a friend of Kevin Smith's called Vulgar. I highly recommend it if you're into something messed up.
Yep. So
because it ain't cool.
Yeah. This clown never shows up again in any of these View Askew picture.
Except for Vulgar, which is a View Askew film.
Start with Dante title card. Every main character in this movie, except for the women, which might be...
I guess, but...
which might lead to the whole misogynist thing.
Maybe. That could be it.
Don't get title cards. So Dante gets a phone call, comes collapsing out of his closet.
Now, I've tried to figure out for years
why he was in there, why he was sleeping in there.
I think I can figure it out. Because if you cut to later in the flick, he's saying that he was on the phone all night with Caitlin. Maybe he was on the phone, because the phone's right there. So maybe he's on the phone, and he's in this pile of clothes, and he's on the phone and just says fuck it, and just crashes when he hangs up. That's the only thing I can think. Why was the
door closed? That can't be comfortable.
But he had to, I guess he had to hide in the closet while he's talking to the ex-girlfriend.
Does he live with...
He lives with his mom.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah.
So they basically say, you gotta come into work.
But I don't work today.
Well...
But what he says, basically what you can sort of ascertain on the other, is that the other guy, Arthur, was sick, and they needed Dante to come in.
Boss will be there at 12.
Boss will be there at 12. Randall can't come in because he's working as well.
Yeah, he's working the video store.
So he's like, all right, swear you'll be there at 12, and I'll do it. 12 or I walk, which...
Nope. Gets there, gum in the lock, bunch of savages in this town.
Which is a line I use every day of my life.
Yep. Both you and I use that line on a bunch of savages. It also helped with the lighting.
Yeah, well, the idea was basically they had to film at night, right? Yeah. And if you got shutters that can show that you can get in, that it's dark outside, you would have to buy lights, which they did do occasionally have lights on the outside, like the scene later on, the first scene with Veronica when she's leaving. They have lights outside shining in, which is why they shake, if you notice.
Yeah.
This just made it easier. Yeah. Like if you don't have to open the shutters, then you don't have to.
So he breaks out a sheet. I assure you we're open.
And shoe polish.
To write out the message because that's all he had.
Yep.
Tapes it up.
Basically, it says, "I assure you we're open." Yeah. Interesting story. When I was living with a mutual friend of ours, we were renting rooms in his dad's house. We painted above my bed an exact replica of that sheet that just basically said, "I assure you we're open" above my bed.
Yeah. I don't even know if we mentioned this last week. Like, you and I are, like, obsessed with Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And his films. Like, if it wasn't obvious last week or this week, we just want to put that out there. Like, we're going to
we're huge fans.
We're not going to be partisan about this.
No.
Try to be...
Yeah.
No.
I listened to all of his podcasts. Some of the information I got today came from interviews he did on his podcast with Jeff Anderson.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Just putting that out there. It's not going to be... This is biases all get out. Now, these title cards that happen throughout the film, vilification is the first one. What do you know?
Okay, well, what these were is originally the structure of the flick was supposed to be the Divine Comedy, Dante's Inferno. However, no, that didn't make any sense. So he basically decided to just randomly throw up, as he calls it, dictionary words, because he got them from a dictionary right before he was having to drop off the film for the title cards. So there's no real reason behind it after the Dante's Inferno gimmick ended up.
Yeah.
So he just sort of left it in because it was kind of a good way to break it up. There was no
Artsy.
no real thing behind it.
Because again, this is one of those movies that feels like a skit movie.
Yeah,
like little skits throughout the day.
Yeah, it is literally. It does.
That
literally
has an overarching theme, which is why I love it so much. We start with the anti-smoker.
Yes.
Man comes in, buys some smokes.
Yes.
Coffee. Buys some coffee. Says, "Can I drink this here?" Yeah, sure. Which I don't.
Immediately, that should have been
bad. Red flag.
Red flag. Like, why does this asshole want to hang out and drink coffee here? Yeah. But all right, cool.
So somebody comes in. Walt.
Pack of cigarettes. Yeah, Walt. The first appearance of Walt Flanagan asking for a pack of cigarettes.
And then he proceeds to ask him why does he smoke?
How much do you smoke? And then it just goes like, how much do you smoke? How long you been smoker? Well, and then he drops this fucking thing on the counter, which he says is a cancer-ridden lung, which actually was a sheep's stomach that they'd rolled around in the dirt and put cigarette butts out on.
and a trach ring.
And a trach ring he had. He hands it to him and just says, "Oh no, that's not Walt."